we're happy to ask questions.
This month.
We're happy to ask questions. Let me go through. Happy to ask questions. Number one. Okay. Number two, we have to have some independent verification of answers.
I understand that.
Okay. That's it. Those are my 2 points.
Okay.
Okay. So we're happy to ask questions, but we have to have independent verification.
Does the appointment of a trustee, does that affect Sussman Shank's role? I mean, are they less involved now? The trustees really have to really move forward and do whatever they need to do, or I don't understand what. Does it affect their role going forward?
As a practical matter, it doesn't probably. As a legal matter, the trustee can select whatever the trustee wants. So.
Does the Sussman, you know, I mean, listening to what I've heard so far, it sounds like we're frustrated with the speed of this process. You guys are frustrated with the speed of this process, and of course, the big part of it's not here. Sussman Shank is, you know, maybe getting some of the blame and stuff. At least might inside me, and with this next process with the trustee appointments, I mean, does Sussman Shank's, will their role go down, which I think might be a good thing, but I mean,
well, we need to get the legal work done no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
They clearly are the most knowledgeable firm.
Mm-hmm.
They are. We need, once part of this problem is that because of the intense distrust by the creditors, you get a lot of duplication.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help.
Right.
And I think once we get the trustee in place, I think everybody will agree to stop the duplication, because then the creditors will feel like, okay, they got their guy in place, so they don't need to duplicate. And you know, that's part of the role of the trustee, is to say, you know, okay, creditor's attorney, you research this issue, Sussman Shank, you research this issue, and we need to move forward on this, and this. So.
It seems to me that they're going to appoint a trustee, and then the trustee just, would be, if it's you, then when does the assignment of interest happen?
Well, that's dependent upon the four principals deciding that they want to do it or don't want to do it. And other than a court, nobody can force you to do anything.
Does it make sense that we sit there and go, okay, here's all these assets we're ready to sign right now?
Oh, it's mine. Sorry.
Here's these assets that we're ready to transfer, whatever, or sign or whatever. And then we have these other ones we're really, really concerned about. We want some kind of different agreement to get those in. I mean, is that unreasonable?
I'm not saying it's unreasonable, but Mark, you've asked me the same question 5 different times, and my answer is the same. You're asking for an answer. I'm telling you, people are literally researching that question today.
But you also just said that until
I'm just saying, quit researching it. I'll agree to get this over to you, but let's do this in a different way. This is an asset that has nothing to do with inland. I will give it to the bankruptcy estate. This is how I want to do it in a way that doesn't endanger it. I don't need the attorneys to tell me, oh, well, we're going to take this risk or whatever. This is me. And I'm subjecting, so I'm asking you, are the attorneys going to say, you have to do it, you don't have a choice?
They might. They might say, if you want the cooperation of the creditors, this is what you need to do. They can't say to you, you have to do it. Only a judge can say to you, you have to do it. But they can say, if you want the cooperation of the creditors, this is what we want you to do. That's why they want to research it, so they can figure out what exactly they want you to do. And asking me again and again isn't going to help, because I don't have an answer for you today on that issue. It's been raised. The initial reaction was, let's put all the assets in, we'll take the risk. That was the initial reaction. Then David Foraker and others said, come on guys, think about sure that this is the right way to go. And so people said, okay, you're right, we should go back and revisit this. And that's what they're doing. They're revisiting that exact issue. But I can't tell you, Mark, I understand your agreement. It's a good idea, it's a creative idea, but I can't tell you whether that's, people are gonna agree to that or not, because I don't know. I don't control the creditors, so I don't know what they'll agree to.
But if you can voice your opinion.
But if you have influence with the creditors,
right.
I mean.
I influence them by saying you gotta go research this, don't just do it this one way, let's go research the issue. Let's figure out if there is another way to do this. And then we talked about all the different ideas, which I've gone through.
And what about you presenting this idea to the creditors?
He says he already
just
has.
did.
Oh, this one with him signing some?
No, I didn't,
Just
that's
just
exactly
blank-
that I
like
did.
there's problems with blanket assignments, just assigning everything, if there's some issues there. You've told the creditors that.
Yes. And not only that, I told them, what about doing it with a assignment of economic interest with a power of attorney? What about doing it with an assignment of economic interest and a cooperation agreement? You're proposing something kind of like my third alternative.
Right, that's kind of it.
It's kind of the third alternative. And so I've said, analyze these ideas.
And maybe it makes sense if some assets go one way and some assets another way because of this.
It might.
Can you-
I'm not
Can you keep just a court order in place on specific assets and transferring those assets, that court order's there under this agreement of cooperation or whatever? So they have assurance that it's, it's a court order giving assurance that it's not going anywhere.
You're asking me to interpret the court order?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, I'm sure if
I guess
I.
I'm asking, do you think that the creditors would look at that as a strong enough thing to give them assurance that?
I don't think so. I don't think that existing court order is enough to give them that assurance. I am told that some of those creditors are gonna continue to pursue their actions that they're pursuing unless the assignment is done. But again, not my decision, I'm just telling you what they tell me. And I've said, let's think about these other ideas as a way of still getting everybody in the same page.
Is there, could you, email me the 3 ideas that you have, just word by word, so we understand what they are? Or are able to talk to the attorneys that we have to deal with in order to.
I had tried to call David Porter on the way down and couldn't call him because I had 3 other phone calls at the same time. I'm gonna call him on the way back, because he's asked me specifically to call him and talk to him about not only this issue, but about a couple other ideas that he's got.
I mean, I know this is the trees forest, but one specific on the mortgage holder, if Brian or Mike markers sign their interest, then the mortgage holder can take the property back. And it's just an example, but that's one that's kind of, and Steffi's involved in that, and there's lots of people get hurt, and it's just an example.
It's not one that we're.
It's not one where there's any value because,
Well, we have it listed, I mean, we got it out there, it's listed at a price that will get some money to the creditors if we can find it. I mean, we kinda wanna leave it out there listed, and the only way to make the thing work for now is that we're gonna have to do the management, we're losing our manager, if we gotta pay a manager, you're gonna be feeding that money every month. So, I mean, it's just a real specific one that we wanna try to get some value out of it, if we possibly can, and so.
And we are getting, it's the forest and the trees thing, but that's just an example of there's a property that we'd love to sit down, as you guys do your evaluation, and
That's what I
talk
was
to you
just gonna
about
say.
Yeah.
what we know about the property and what work we've done on it, because that is, we're talking about Century Drive over Walmart, 10 acres of RH property in West Side Bend.
No,
it's RM,
Mark.
it's RM.
It's RM, but it has the ability to upgrade,
See, almost
but the
just-
point is, that may be one, go back to the discount rate, they may very well wanna say, okay, we're gonna come in and we'll, to what degree this trust will help fund this if it's necessary, but we wanna right now, there's probably no value in that property. And so it's just one of those, we just wanna make sure that there will be I wanna make sure there's an avenue for that kind of input.
And we don't care about we want all of our interests to go to the creditors.
Right.
And, but there's also some other people in there that can potentially, if we assign and put in default, we just screw them over.
These are conversations we know we have to have, but when you ask why I haven't asked you questions or why you hasn't asked you questions, we haven't been in a position to do that. We've been looking through all the files, we haven't, I mean, that's what Kevin was saying, things are changed a little bit. If we're in that position as a trustee or whatever else, I have tons of questions for you, but we're not in a position to make decisions on any of the properties. So, and like, you would have asked me why haven't you asked questions, or, I mean, I would have answered those questions for you, but I wasn't in a position to specifically go property by property and ask you those questions. I have a laundry list of questions on every single one of those. And that's what we want to do. We just haven't been in that spot to do it yet. It's not a matter of like not wanting to ask you. We know that the people in this room can explain that file better than anybody else, or whoever else is
Well,
involved.
that's not necessarily true either.
Or
I
whoever-
mean,
whoever's
I
got
got
an
a
LLC,
that
whoever's
worked on a
managing
property
it.
and said, oh, these guys think they own it in this.
No, I mean, I get that.
Discovered it's not, you know.
Right, we did.
Well, no,
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
are few
some
of those, I get
properties.
surprising going, what the
Yeah,
hell?
and that's,
That's
But-
not, yeah.
But
that's
it's not, it's, God, you know, what we're saying is, there are a number of things that we have ownership interests or properties that we are really concerned, not only about the partners getting screwed, but about getting the most value. And if I could hear, I wanna hear that someone's going, we know that, we need to figure out solutions to that and work with it instead, this general assignment, just do it, is, to me, a scary thing. I don't know that it's the best for the creditors.
Yeah.
I know that,
expected-
But that's the
I
creditors
expected-
saying that, Mark, not,
I know, but I
Kevin.
expected for
Okay.
you guys a property by property analysis of going, we got a different, here's these properties, here's a you know, these are just.
Until we have the operating agreements, we can't read something we don't have.
Right, well, I know you have some of them.
We've got some of them, but we don't have. You'd be surprised how many we don't have.
So am I hearing that, with all the information, you guys will do the due diligence work?
We have to, it's our
Right,
job.
right, okay, and then, you know, you guys' intention here is to get the most back to the creditors, but,
Not only that, it's our economic incentive.
right, right, and then, the only concern I have is this mobile home park. There was a 74-year-old man who, has to go back and work at this park, and he did an exchange and exchanged into this park, and the money from that exchange went to inland. So that's why we're hurting so bad on this park, and he has nothing. If that one goes into default and we're not able to get it out of the hands of the seller financer, he loses the $900,000 he put in there, and that was the whole of his wealth.
So, I mean, that's a real personal thing for us, and to go, okay, transfer it, put it in default, and just let this guy just suffer the consequences, it's not morally right for me.
Well, I hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I hear you. I'm gonna talk to David Foraker. He's got some ideas he wants to discuss with me. I've got some ideas to discuss with him. He's got some other things he wants to talk about. I'm happy to do that.
Is there a way that you could communicate what your discussions are around those items with us afterwards?
You mean up to your property, you mean, or?
Or just with the blanket assignment versus, getting most everything assigned except the one problem properties?
Yes, I'm happy to do that, and we just need to make sure that your attorneys are comfortable with me doing that.
Yeah.
Because they have to actually be comfortable with that, but yeah.
And the other one, Smith Brothers, Dennis, don't underestimate him. He will hire the attorneys, he'll fight you like hell. I mean, and that one just says you can't specifically assign it. You know, it doesn't have anything, he doesn't even know why he's got to talk to anybody else.
Okay.
He will fight like hell, and it's gonna cost you a whole bunch of money, and, you know, the way to resolve with Dennis is just work with him and figure out a solution. and you'll get, and that has a whole bunch of value there. You know, you can argue about the business, the value of the business, but if you can't do a deal with him to get him to do a lease on that building, that's where you just lost a whole bunch of value.
Yeah.
Okay? He's a key guy to getting money to the creditors, and I just think he's one of the guys we better be dang careful about how we go about this. He is nervous as a, I mean, he wants to move on now.
Well, I forwarded his email to Kevin the other day.
I forwarded it to Brian anyway, so they.
And you had also told us that you have a packet from him or a business valuation
Right.
analysis, and
Yeah.
I think we'd certainly like to see that.
Yeah, but I mean, those are two, and I haven't sat there and spent time looking at the other things, but those two right off the bat make me incredibly nervous. And so,
Again, it sounds like Obsidian really doesn't have the authority yet
We can't.
to negotiate or do that, and
And once you're a trustee,
We won't until we get the assignment.
yeah.
It's a two-step
you
process.
won't get to be a trustee until you get the assignment?
No, trustee, but then he still needs to have
At least the hopefully the attorney's gonna say assignment of power of attorney and additional interest or whatever, rather than the actual assignment itself. Hopefully that's gonna work out, but we'll know until we come back from the attorneys, so.
Right, but, I mean, as I say, I intend to call him today and say, where are we on this issue?
I think that's one of just the biggest issues,
I
obviously.
I've only been asked now, I think 7 times. I got it.
Kevin, so,
I had a phone call in 3 minutes. Just so
okay,
you know.
I just want a real concise answer. If, just looking at this and what you know about it, how long do you think, you know, depending on what they come back, if they come back with a reasonable discount rate, how long do you think that this liquidation should take to get the most value for the creditors?
Give me the discount rate.
Well, let's just say it's 4%.
Okay, I think your discount rate and their discount rate are not gonna be different.
Okay, what do you
but
think the discount rate is?
I think their discount rate will be higher,
15 or
Okay,
something, 10%.
yeah.
Okay, let's say it's 15%. What should,
If it was 15,
right?
my gut feel is 3 years.
Okay, so you don't think that the best deal is liquidating all this stuff right away? That's gonna be the best?
At 15% discount rate, I
At
don't.
15% discount?
Right, if you told me it was 45, I'd
Right.
say, that's a different situation.
Okay.
If at 4%, it might take 5 years.
Because my concern all along was that all you're gonna do, this is all I've ever heard, is that you're just gonna liquidate these assets. I mean, I haven't heard anything different from anybody else, and I haven't seen your plan.
Look, in DDI, we spent 4 years?
5 years.
5 years. We've got $100 million more.
That's great.
But but you can't, you say you don't wanna believe me, I don't know how to, I mean, I can just tell you what we do. I mean, we take a tremendous amount of pride in what we do. Okay, because when we're done, we want people to say, that was a damn good job. Not, they screwed us over and we didn't get a damn thing. I mean, you know, that doesn't help. So, I mean, we've only had people be happy before, but, you know, when we're done. I mean, you can be unhappy in the interim, but when we're done, you know, I mean, we'll do the best job we can do, and we do a good job. You know, I don't know how else to do it, Mark, other than to just tell you that. You want to answer a specific question, how do we think about it, like the discount rate, or how long does it take? I can answer those questions for you. But no,
You answered my question. I mean,
do we think we're blowing it out? No, we don't think we're blowing it out. In fact, if we were just blowing it out, you wouldn't need us.
well, that's
not what we do.
That's what's, you know, yeah.
And we
I
do
haven't
have-
been told anything other than you're just gonna liquidate stuff.
Well, I don't know who's told you that.
So is there a way that we
Well,
could,
whatever. Go ahead.
get the attorneys to pass a way for you to communicate directly to us? Communication is critical.
Well, it sounds like they can. It sounds like Ryan, whatever, if he has a question, he's not gonna go through Susan, who's gonna go through my attorney to
Well, it's
talk
not
to
like
you.
I've been asking Susan questions.
Yeah.
I haven't been asking
Yeah.
anybody this, because we haven't been in a position to do that. That's just all there is to it.
But we still need to clear with your attorneys.
Okay,
We just have to ask, guys, we just have to do that.
okay.
Because if they thought that we would learn something that could hurt you, they would be concerned about that. They just
So
would.
do you have to ask for that, or do we have to?
Either way.
I'm gonna
Okay.
shoot it right now, I'm gonna talk to
Yeah.
them right now. If that's blocking communication, then I need a different attorney. So, I'll communicate with my.
I understand, I'm not
Yeah.
saying your attorney
Yeah.
has said, don't
Right,
communicate
right.
with you. So make sure you express it the
Okay,
correct
gotcha,
way.
I want,
Right.
Kevin's, no, yeah.
That's not what I said.
Right.
I said, Kevin said,
Mhm.
you need to ask before he can start asking you questions about the properties.
Okay.
That's what you can say, because that's